30th of December, 2000. In a quiet corner of Setagaya, Tokyo, the night air seemed to hang heavier than usual. Just beside Soshigaya Park, where children's laughter once echoed, an eerie silence had settled. By dawn on New Year's Eve, what was left was devastation. A family of 4, the Miyazawas, found lifeless in their own home. 3 had been attacked with a knife. The youngest, a little boy, had his life taken in a different, more silent way. How could such horror visit a family on the eve of a new millennium, in a place known for its safety? To understand this tragedy, we have to step back into the world of the Miyazawa family. At the heart of this story is Mikio Miyazawa, a 44-year-old advertising executive. His wife, Yasuko, age 41, balanced her days between motherhood and working part-time at a local school. Their children, Niena, an energetic 8-year-old girl, and Rei, a 6-year-old boy with a gentle smile, filled their modest home with the ordinary chaos of family life. Their house stood at Kamisoshigaya 3 Chome, right next to Komazawa University's baseball field and the peaceful Sengawa River. But in the months leading up to that winter, their neighborhood had begun to change. The city was clearing out old homes to expand the park, leaving just a few scattered houses isolated, exposed, and perhaps vulnerable in ways no one could have imagined. Everything, on the surface, seemed ordinary. But as we unravel this case, one question lingers. In a city of millions, how did tragedy find this single, dwindling household? And what secrets, if any, did the darkness of that December night conceal? Portraits in Stillness, the Miyazawa family and their surroundings. To understand the magnitude of what happened, we must first look closely at the lives behind the headlines, the Miyazawa family themselves. Mikio Miyazawa was a man defined by routine and responsibility. At 44, he worked for Interbrand, a global branding consultancy, known for his quiet determination and devotion to his family. Yasuko, his wife, balanced the demands of raising 2 children while working part-time at a local cram school. To their neighbors, the Miyazawas seemed like any other family, ordinary, loving, never courting trouble. Their children, Nina and Rei, brought joy and warmth into the home. Nina, just 8, was lively and curious, her laughter often echoing through the small streets of Kamisoshigaya. Rei, 2 years younger, had a gentle shyness, clinging to his mother's side on walks to the park. For the Miyazawas, home was a sanctuary until, slowly, their sense of security began to erode. The environment itself played a subtle but crucial role. Their house stood at the edge of Setagaya's Soshigaya Park, a spot that, years earlier, had been bustling with neighbors and children. But by late 2000, city plans to expand the park had emptied out most of the nearby houses. The once vibrant neighborhood had grown strangely quiet, with only a handful of homes left standing, each more isolated than the last. The Miyazawa's home, now bordering a vast, unlit park and an empty lot, became increasingly vulnerable. Friends and relatives later recalled their unease about the changing area, but life pressed on as usual. The Miyazawas made do, celebrating holidays, attending school, never suspecting the shadow that would soon descend. In cases like this, one wonders, was the real threat born from personal motives, or did the landscape itself, lonely, exposed, invite something darker into their lives? At this point, there were no open conflicts, no enemies. But in hindsight, the setting had quietly set the stage for what was to come. Cracks in the surface, signals, and unanswered questions. Beneath the calm exterior of the Miyazawa family's life, investigators searched for any sign, any subtle crack that could explain the horror that unfolded. Was there a feud, a warning, a whispered threat overlooked in the everyday shuffle? Yet, As police meticulously combed through the Miyazawa's social and financial histories, no concrete conflicts emerged. No family quarrels. No major debts. No apparent enemies lurking in the background. Detectives considered everything from personal grudges to property disputes, but by early 2001, both motives remained unsubstantiated. So, if not motive, then what? In this case, risk was less about relationships and more about environment. The Miyazawa home, once tucked safely within a close-knit community, had become isolated. The gradual clearing of neighboring houses to make way for Setagaya's park expansion meant fewer witnesses, more darkness, and easier access for anyone with ill intent. At night, the area grew quiet, even desolate, leaving the few remaining residents, including the Miyazawas, more vulnerable than ever before. This sense of exposure was not lost on the family. Some relatives mentioned a vague unease about the neighborhood's transformation. The Miyazawas, like many, carried on with routine, but perhaps in the back of their minds, the change was unsettling. Was it enough to raise alarm? Or was it the sort of worry people dismiss until the unthinkable happens? And then, on the 30th of December, the unimaginable did happen. For investigators, the challenge was daunting. In a case with no proven personal conflicts and no clear reason for targeted violence, the focus shifted to clues hidden in the setting itself. Had someone taken advantage of the neighborhood's isolation? Was it the work of a stranger, or someone who knew just when and where to strike? As the investigation unfolded, one thing became clear: the threat did not come with warnings or obvious motives. Sometimes, it's the silence, the absence of obvious danger, that hides the greatest risks. In the Miyazawa's case, the vulnerability of their environment would become a chilling, central element of the tragedy. The Night of Shadows. Timeline of the crime. December 30th, 2000. The Miyazawa household quietly prepared for the last night of the year, unaware of the darkness about to descend. According to forensic analysis, the critical window spanned from around 11 p.m. to the early hours of December 31st. But what truly happened inside that home, as the outside world remained oblivious? Investigators painstakingly reconstructed the hours of that night. Sometime after 11 p.m., a person, whose identity remains one of Japan's most haunting mysteries, entered the Miyazawa residence. Later, debate would rage over the entry point, with the most recent findings suggesting the intruder likely slipped in through a bathroom window on the mezzanine floor. This single detail would fuel countless theories, yet even by the end of 2024, no theory could be declared absolute. Inside, violence unfolded with chilling precision. 3 family members, Mikio, Yasuko, and Niina, were attacked with a knife. Young Rei, the youngest, lost his life in a different manner, silenced in the darkness. The brutality was devastating, yet what happened next would only deepen the puzzle. The killer did not immediately flee. Instead, they lingered for hours in the house, an act that would baffle even the most experienced detectives. Digital forensics revealed that the family's computer was accessed after the murders. Someone browsed the internet, seemingly calm and methodical. The refrigerator was raided for cold food and tea. The intruder even tended to a bleeding injury, leaving behind evidence of self-treatment. Such behavior posed a chilling question. What kind of person could remain so composed, surrounded by chaos? Investigators also faced uncertainty over the route of escape. For years, the question hung heavy. Did the killer leave through the window, the front door, or somewhere else entirely? As of late 2024, official statements lean toward the bathroom window as the likeliest answer, But even now, nothing is certain. By the dawn of December 31st, the Miyazawa home was forever changed. But the clues left behind, both obvious and subtle, would become the foundation for one of Japan's largest criminal investigations. As police worked against the clock, they faced a singular question: who could commit such an act? Then linger in the aftermath as if time itself had stopped. The search for truth, forensic clues, and dead ends. With the crime scene finally revealed, investigators launched one of the most intensive manhunts in Japanese history. More than 282,000 officers would be involved over the years, scouring every detail for a break. But the case was not just about persistence. It was also about the forensic story the killer left behind. A trail of evidence both plentiful and, so far, maddeningly inconclusive. The perpetrator was not a ghost. He left fingerprints and, crucially, DNA, enough to provide clear answers in most other cases. Forensics established that the killer was male, blood type A. Yet when authorities compared the DNA against a staggering database of more than 50 million profiles, there was no match. The murderer, it seemed, did not exist on record. Further DNA analysis yielded a startling hypothesis. The suspect's paternal line likely originated in East Asia, while his maternal ancestry pointed to southern Europe or the Mediterranean region. Such details, while fascinating, only deepened the mystery. Could the killer have been a foreigner? Or was he a Japanese national with a more complex family background? For investigators, these were tantalizing leads, yet still not enough for an arrest. Material evidence was abundant and oddly specific. A gray-purple raglan sleeve sweatshirt was left behind. Only 130 of these had ever been sold in Japan, just 10 in Tokyo. Other items included a Uniqlo AirTech jacket, a distinctive Crusher knit cap, Edwin gloves, a checkered scarf, and a waist pouch with a unique 83-centimeter strap, suggesting the killer had a waist size between 70 and 85 centimeters. Even the killer's shoes, Slazenger sneakers, size 27.5, made in Korea and rarely available in Japan, provided clues, but no direct trail. The murder weapon, a Seki Magoroku Ginju sashimi knife, was left at the scene. Another chilling detail: a hand towel with the lingering scent of Drakkar Noir cologne. The killer's blood, found in several spots, indicated he'd been injured and had attempted to treat himself before slipping away into the night. Despite the mountain of evidence, each lead ultimately ended in frustration. The Miyazawa murders would become one of the largest, most puzzling investigations in Japan, a case defined by its abundance of clues, yet a haunting lack of resolution. Turning points and deadlocks. Twists in the investigation. As the years slipped by, the Miyazawa case became a fixture in the collective memory of Japan, a haunting puzzle that refused to be solved. Despite the immense effort, the case continually circled back to its central mysteries: a faceless perpetrator, a mountain of forensic clues, and no clear answers. Yet the investigation was not without its moments of hope. Each development, each twist, rekindled public interest and brought renewed scrutiny to the evidence. By late 2024, authorities took a dramatic step. They announced a record-breaking reward of up to 20 million yen for information leading to an arrest. Posters were distributed, leaflets handed out, and, most notably, a life-sized mannequin dressed in replicas of the suspect's clothes was put on display at Seijo Gakuen Mai Station. The goal was clear: to stir memories, to jolt someone's conscience, and to squeeze fresh clues from a case grown cold. At the same time, forensic science was advancing. In early 2025, the investigative team proposed expanding the use of DNA phenotyping, using genetic information to predict not only ancestry, but also possible physical traits. This approach, though controversial for its ethical and legal implications, offered a new chance to narrow the suspect pool. Could technology finally bridge the gap left by traditional detective work? The debate continued, and the public watched anxiously. Yet for all these breakthroughs, the core of the case remained stubbornly unchanged. Theories about motive, whether it was robbery, a personal grudge, or the act of a stranger, had all been explored and found wanting. Even with thousands of pieces of evidence and over 250,000 officers assigned at various times, no one had ever been charged. The Miyazawa murders remained officially unsolved. In the end, these twists did more than prolong the investigation. They kept the hope of justice alive. With every new appeal, every technological leap, the possibility lingered. Maybe the next clue, the next confession, would finally bring answers to the questions that had haunted Setagaya for decades: the unfinished case legal status and the endless search. As of today, the Miyazawa family tragedy remains one of Japan's most persistent cold cases. Despite the passage of time, the heartbreak and questions endure. There has been no trial, no formal indictment, and, crucially, no closure for those left behind. The file remains open, marked as unsolved, while investigators and the public alike wait for a breakthrough that never seems to arrive. Every year, on the anniversary of the crime, officers and community members revisit the scene, hoping that fresh eyes or a changed memory might bring a new perspective. Police continue to encourage anyone with information to come forward, and the reward for relevant tips remains the largest ever offered for a single case in Japan. It's a testament to both the scale of the investigation and the determination to keep the case alive in the public's mind. Forensic advances, such as DNA phenotyping and ancestry tracing, hold promise but have yet to deliver the conclusive lead. Authorities are careful not to make definitive statements about the entry or exit points, the identity of the perpetrator, or even the precise motive. Theories have shifted with each new lead, but the case remains stubbornly without resolution. The effect on the Miyazawa family's relatives is profound. The community, too, continues to feel the weight of the unsolved crime, a lingering sense that safety, once shattered, is not easily rebuilt. For the investigators, the case has become a measure of dedication and frustration. Thousands of hours, thousands of clues, but the truth still out of reach. In the eyes of the law, the Miyazawa murders are unfinished business, a reminder of the limits of even the most determined justice system. Yet for all involved, hope persists. Sometimes it is the act of searching itself that keeps a case alive, a quiet promise that one day, even the deepest mysteries might yield their secrets. Echoes and lessons, the legacy of Setagaya. The aftermath of the Miyazawa family tragedy extends far beyond the walls of a single home in Setagaya. For years, this case has resonated deeply in Japanese society, sparking debates on safety, forensic science, and the role of community vigilance. It stands as a stark reminder that even in places considered among the safest in the world, the unthinkable can happen. The scale of the response was unprecedented. Over 282,000 officers cycled through the investigation. More than 12,000 pieces of evidence were catalogued, and every avenue, from witness interviews to international DNA databases, was explored. Yet, despite the massive effort, the Setagaya murders remain a byword for unresolved pain and the limitations of even the most modern investigative tools. The impact on the community was immediate and lasting. Neighbors, once confident in the safety of their streets, found themselves questioning old assumptions. Many expressed a renewed appreciation for community bonds, realizing that isolation, even in a bustling city, can make anyone vulnerable. The case also accelerated the integration of advanced forensic techniques in Japanese policing, highlighting the promise and the ethical dilemmas of emerging DNA technology. For the families, the investigators, and the wider public, the lack of closure is its own kind of burden. Each year, new appeals and advancements bring a flicker of hope, but also a sober reminder of what remains unsolved. The mannequins at train stations, the reward posters, and the annual memorials are all part of a collective effort not to let the memory fade. Perhaps the most enduring lesson is the value of persistence, of never allowing difficult questions to be buried by time. The Miyazawa case reminds us that justice is often a journey, not a destination, and that the search for answers can unite a community even in the face of loss. In the end, this tragedy urges us to cherish the ordinary, to look out for one another, and to remember that sometimes the shadows in the safest places conceal the deepest mysteries. The Miyazawa family's story is more than a case file. It is a haunting reflection of how even the strongest communities can be shaken by a single, unfathomable night. In the years since, the search for justice has brought together investigators, scientists, and everyday citizens in an unending pursuit of truth. Yet, the shadows still linger over Setagaya, a quiet reminder that some mysteries resist every effort to solve them. This case stands as a powerful lesson: the importance of community, the need for vigilance, and the incredible persistence required to seek justice, even when answers remain just out of reach. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like and follow our channel for more investigations into the world's most mysterious, unsolved crimes. Every voice, every share keeps the memory alive, and maybe, just maybe, brings us one step closer to the truth.